Hello and welcome to Encore. Today we're taking a trip down the rabbit hole and through the looking glass into a virtual digital world.
www.wonder.land.
This golden girl I spy here is going to be me.
It's a new theatrical take on an enduring favourite of children's literature with music from Damon Albarn. Wonder.land sees Lewis Carroll's Alice navigating the ups and downs of online interaction. The musical's on the stage here in Paris. We find out more from its two stars. I'm joined on set by Lois Chimimba and Carly BAWDEN. Hi Lois and Carly.
Hi.
So you play the main character or characters in this show, that is Ali and Alice. It's like a double identity. Can you explain to me who's who?
Yeah, I guess. So I play Ali, who is effectively our modern take of Lewis Carroll's Alice, and she creates an avatar online who's Alice, who Carly plays, who looks a bit more like Lewis Carroll's icon with the blonde hair and the blue dress. But I guess she sort of is everything that Ali would like to be.
And what is that?
She wants to create a persona that is the complete opposite to her and full of confidence, and ends up finding herself through this avatar.
Okay. Alice herself, as a character, was created by Lewis Carroll 150 years ago, and she's been reimagined in every possible way, film, theatre, even manga. Why do you think she's just so appealing as a character?
I guess sort of coming of age tales can kind of appeal to the masses because we've all went through it or are still to go through it, and
It's the journey of discovery, isn't
Yeah.
it? Finding yourself and everything you come across, and the story is so crazy and frightening at
it's
times,
fun.
and thrilling at times. It's got everything. So I think that's why it just
appeals
carries
to
right through.
everyone.
It's certainly been very, very popular for the last century and a half. So in this new show, we have got some familiar faces from the book. Alice, a madman in a hat, and an authoritative queen or head teacher, and of course, a surreal caterpillar. So let's take a look at this extract from the show.
If you don't know who's at the core of you, you're easy prey, or a simple fool. So it's clear that you'll hear me say, who are you? That's a question true. It's a mystery.
So as we can see from the show, the setting and the subject matter of Wonder.land is ultra-modern. It's really the present day. But the format of musical theatre, musicals as we know them, is quite classic. There are codes and protocols, the whole staging of the thing. How did you mix the two?
I think it manifests partly in just the bravery of the story, and how it's so firmly based in the digital world. Mm-hmm. So I think that in itself really brings a fresh take. And also I think it manifests itself in the music and the way Damon has approached it, and has very much given a nod to the tradition, but also slightly broken it up as well, and not given, traditional ends of numbers sometimes, but sometimes does, like at the end of Act 1. You get a very satisfying button at the end, and then sometimes it doesn't. It flows through, and yeah.
Yeah, I think having so much of the story in this digital world, it gives us a lot of freedom that you can kind of do what you want because there's so many different elements of it. So it means that I don't think we ever felt confined to having to do a musical in a particular way. It was just how we were going to tell this story.
Pushing the boundaries of a musical then. Now, speaking of the people behind the conception of the show, director Rufus Norris said that he started to imagine the musical when Damon Albarn said to him that today's rabbit hole or portal is in fact the mobile phone. So let's hear from the people behind the music in this show, Damon Albarn and MOIRA BUFFINI.
Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland is impossible to improve upon. So in a sense, you just take it as an inspiration for something that you feel strongly about.
It investigates a part of our brain that is the doorway to imagination and creativity. So in that sense, it's always going to be important.
It's moved so far away from Lewis Carroll's books, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, but it is inspired by them. And it has sort of modern reimaginings of some of those iconic characters.
So do you agree with Damon when he says you can't really improve upon Lewis Carroll?
Yeah, I think we would be hard pushed to make that story better, but definitely it was a big part of what Wonder.land has become now.
What was it like working with him?
He's amazing.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, he's as cool as you expect him to be, but it was really special. Very early on, we got to go to the recording studio, and he's got so many different instruments, and his mind just seems to work differently to mine. So I felt like I was permanently impressed by him, and did quite often feel like a bit of a pop star when I was at the studio with him.
Not too intimidating then. So there is the idea here that, going to Wonderland is about going online. There's this magical other alternative reality for Ali's character, and she finds a virtual community where she really feels accepted and that she belongs. Do you think that these possibilities are available now with the internet? Do you think that's going to cause us to retreat from real life interactions and just go towards online interactions?
I don't think Wonder.land definitely is not a warning against the perils of the internet. I think it's very much about celebrating what it does have to offer and what individuals can make of it. And I think it's a good thing that people can find solace in this online world, and we don't need to be scared of it, I think.
But Carly, what about this question of social networks? I mean, we have seen in real life that they can also be a platform for bullying or intimidation that can facilitate things.
Yeah, and the show doesn't shy away from that either, which I think is great. It kind of celebrates it and also shows the darker side of it too, which I think is really important. And I think that's why this generation, this latest generation, can really grab hold of the story and relate to it.
So one of the central messages of this show, one of the themes, is about being yourself, or at least trying to find out who that is. Do you think that in a globalised world with increasing amounts of stimulus and influences, do you think that's impossible now? Are there too many options?
I'd like to think it's not impossible. I think it's a good thing that we've got so many options that you can really find out what your identity is, because there's so many avenues that you can go down. But I think it's probably, as much as our story is about a 14-year-old girl, I think finding your identity is probably something that you keep doing throughout your whole life. Mm-hmm.
What about you two? I mean, it focuses on these difficult teenage years. Did you always know what you wanted to do, where your talents were, that you wanted to be on the stage?
I think I pretty much always knew that I wanted to kind of exist in this area, in performing and things. I think it's something I grabbed hold of quite early on in life.
Similarly, I think, for me.
And then kind of just let it take me.
Yeah. But yeah, it has changed. Where I thought I might be is definitely different. But I'm happy with the way that is.
It worked out in the end. So one of the criticisms from the original book, from Lewis Carroll's book about Victorian Britain, that was the time it was published, was that children were just learning things for learning's sake, sort of ludicrous mathematical equations or funny riddles. And there are teachers, and there is a classroom in Wonder.land with some tricky lessons. Do you think you were more of an Alice, dozing off in lessons, or did you learn useful stuff at school?
I think I learned useful things, but my main thing is that I got into trouble for chatting too often. So I was definitely easily distracted. But I did enjoy school to an extent.
I think same for me. I think I was a bit of both. But yeah, I got told off for
I like to
chatting as
learn,
well.
but yeah, you couldn't shut me up, really.
Luckily, in our day, we didn't have the distraction that are mobile phones. Lewis and Kylie, that's all we've got time for. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
We'll leave you with this clip from the show. Wonder.land is at the Théâtre de Châtelet until June 16th. Remember, you can get more news on our website. Encore is also on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.